knowing a little bit of the history, like at the gate is where the prophets sat, where the worship leaders sat, where commerce happened, where everything happened, the judges, everybody sat at the gate. And it felt like God was asking us, would you be the gatekeepers in whatever location that he has us? To be the city gate. So I was sitting at the keyboard at a church. I was the worship director, and I felt like I was asking, did you think this was it? Like you were going to stay here for the rest of your life? And it really struck a chord that what would it look like to take prayer and worship out of the church into a location on a street where anybody could come in?
We just really want to listen to what God's saying, and when we hear his voice on something, then we want to act on it. Keeping it very simple, moving in that kind of faith with obedience. The Holy Spirit has blown on it, and it has multiplied and has grown in favor and blessing. So it's definitely all him.
We're a nonprofit ministry that is focused on Jesus, that believes in the church, believes in following Jesus, and just wants to serve our communities. In Lancaster, we do a lot of prayer walking. We do a lot of worship arts. There's a simple church that we do. In Lidditz, there's a teenage group led by teenagers that are just going after it and praying. Lidditz has a lot of businessmen coming in and doing Bible studies, praying for marketplace ministry, things like that. In Ephrata, obviously really big with the free lunch that we do there, but there's a lot of recovery groups. Main Point has a couple groups for men coming out of addiction behaviors.
We really feel like if each CityGate location is going to pray and see transformation in their community happen, each CityGate has to have the sound or the spiritual connection with what's happening in that community. What is God doing in that specific community? And so they have to have the freedom as a leader or leadership team in each location to hear for themselves what God is saying and then be free to actually allow it to happen.
My heart is to give hope, point people toward Jesus, and help them have the more abundant life that he promises us. During COVID is where I really saw things pick up. I used to pray for one free lunch a month, and since January of 2021, we've had a free lunch every Saturday. So churches have really stepped up to help. If people know there's a need, people step up and they want to help. We're making all these connections and work with different agencies that are already in Ephrata, like Good Samaritan Shelter, Ephrata Area Social Services. We've now been meeting with Borough Council on the whole homelessness issue in Ephrata. So I just see God bringing us all together. I really think, God's doing something because I've seen what has happened in Ephrata. We just pray, for his guidance to continue it.
I heard about CityGate through a group that was meeting there. From the moment I walked in the doors, I felt a connection. Soon after that, I felt the call to start up a men's support group. I myself have 20 years of addiction in my past, so I really felt called to start a men's support group in the area where I could give back to the places where I felt that I needed help in my past. In my addiction, I ended up being a drug dealer in town. As you can imagine, that connected me with a lot of people in the dark, but God has, on multiple occasions now, brought people in the door, some of the same people that I dealt to, and allowed me the opportunity to be a dealer of hope, and that's huge. CityGate is an awesome platform to start whatever it is that the Lord is calling you to do. A perfect place to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
If you have a creative idea, bring it. We serve a creative God, so whatever he's leading you to do, just come and talk to us about it.
I just had a conversation with someone that she said, I've been sitting in church my whole life. And we talk about doing stuff and we talk about doing stuff, and then you go home and then you come back the next week. And she said, to have a place where she said, can I bring a lunch in and have ladies and we can have lunch and just do a Bible study? Like, absolutely. That's exactly what we feel this is kind of turned into. Like, CityGate has vision, like Brian said, but what is God telling you to do?